Hello, my name is Melissa Fowlkes. I teach 3rd grade at Hennessy School, and I've been working with Saluting New Readers for 8 years now with wonderful success. And soon you'll be hearing my 3rd grade students be reading their favorite books, and they will be graduating from college in the year 2021.
And I'm going to read Captain Underpants and the Attack of the Talking Toilets. Okay. Wait, George cried. You got to listen. Behind the doors and Arnold used Vice talk. I don't have to listen to you boys ever again, laughed Mr. Crook. Now I got your stuff out of the school, but Arnold sneered. You don't understand. Get out, Mr. Clupp screamed. George and Harold groaned and walked to their lockers to collect their stuff. Gosh, said Harold, and one day we've gotten detention, and we've created an army of evil talking toilets who want to take over the world. That's a pretty bad day, even by your standards, said George. Oh well, said Harold. I'll just hope things don't get any worse. Chapter 12, Things Get Worse. Words quickly spread throughout the office, and George and Harold had been suspended. The teachers rushed out to cheer and laugh at the two boys. You're in big trouble now, chuckled Miss Thrope. I can't wait to tell your parents tell them the news. Let's take their desks outside and chop them up, cried Miss Ribble. Let's start a party in the gym, shouted Miss Meaner. No, cried George. Whatever you don't open the door to the gym. What? We can do whatever we like, shouted Miss Meaner as he jazzed over to the gym and stadium door. Look, I'm opening the door. He quickly opened the door. Thank you for listening to me read.
My name is Michael Howard Kajki, and I will be reading John Philip Duck. Edward was a sweet boy who lived with his family on a small farm just outside Memphis in the foothills of Tennessee. Times were hard. There was a depression and money was hard to come by. Even though Edward was just a lad, he and his father worked at the same hotel in Memphis. During the work week, they stayed at the hotel, but on the weekends they both went home. Edward loved the weekends. He and his family all gathered around the old radio in the parlor and listened to the grand music. Edward especially loved hearing the brass bands playing March by John Philip Swiswa. It made Edward dream about wearing a snappy uniform with shiny brass buttons. Someday I'm going to have a uniform just like that. You'll see, he'd say as he marched around the parlor to the lively music. Edward was a dreamer, all right. One time, right in the middle of chores, there on the farm, he stopped and looked up in the water. Wild ducks were calling and were flying perfect formation. Ain't they, Grandpa? Look how they fly in perfect V, said. And look The following a leader said, "See the one right in the point of the V." Hold up. Thank you for letting me read to you.
My name is Alaric Brown, and I'm going to be reading the Spiderwick Chronicles, The Seeing Stone. Both leaned against the thick trunk of an oak and tried to catch their breath. Mallory was shivering. Jared didn't know if it was because she was soaked or because of the troll. He unzipped his sweatshirt, took it off, and handed it to her. "We're lost," Mallory said, between gulps of air, "and we're unarmed, and at least we know they couldn't have crossed the stream," said Jared, struggling to tie the eyepiece back on his head. The troll would have gotten them for sure, but the sound was on the other side. Mallory kicked the tree, chipping off bark. Jared's nose caught the scent of something burning. It was faint, but he thought it smelled like scorched hair. "Do you smell that?" Jared said. "That way," Mallory said. They crashed through the brush.
Hello? Can I have Courtney Kraft to the office, please?
Headless
Oh, I'm sorry.
of the scratches, twigs and horns made around their arms. Jared's Thank you for listening to me read.
Hello, my name is Dylan Pertut, and I'm going to be reading The Wizard of the Tree. Swallowing the last morsels of food, Abraham climbed to his feet and brushed the crumbs from his beard. His cheeks, Mallory was glad to see, had turned to a healthy pink, and his eyes had brightened. She followed as the enchanter stepped briskly out of the cave and made his way back to the fallen oak. "Are you going to build the boat now?" asked Mallory as Abraham critically eyed the tree. "Just like that? Shouldn't you have a magic wand or draw a magic circle and burn roots and herbs?" "Certainly not," Abraham snorted. "For some strange reason, you humans have always had the notion that anything important must be accompanied by a great show of nonsense. In my day, there were those who wouldn't believe the simplest weather prophecy unless we made a to-do over it. Somehow it registered them. And sensual nevertheless, the magic is inside, not outside. Now you mentioned a river. Which way?" Mallory pointed the direction. Abraham then fixed his gaze on the tree trunk, stretched out his hands, and began murmuring under his breath. "Wait, please," Mallory suddenly burst out. "I must ask you. Will you be quiet?" ordered the enchanter, frowning in expression. "My power had just started working." "Very well. What is it now?" "Please," urged Mallory, "take me with you to Vale Innes." "What?" cried Abraham, staring at her as if he could hardly believe his ears. "You, a mortal? Great heavens, girl, that's impossible." "For an enchanter, it can't be impossible," Mallory insisted. "Surely you could do it if you wanted. It's bad enough drugging the parcels, but if Scribner has his way, it's going to be worse, for the whole village, too. So you, for one, thank you listening for me to read."
Hey! My name is Caroline Voorhees, and I will be reading Norman to the Rescue. Norman fought against his cormorant and swam towards the girl's cries. He grabbed hold of his collar and started to swim towards shore, but the exhausted girl lost her grip. Norman swam frantically in circles, trying to find her again. Anne reached the water's edge and saw the girl in trouble. She was a poor swimmer, so she couldn't help the drowning child. His name is Norman. Call his name. He'll help you, Anne shouted. The girl cried, Norman! Norman! Norman found her again. This time she held on tight. Norman tugged all the way to shore. The young girl was shaking when she reached the beach. Anne wrapped her in a towel. His eyes looked like two headlights coming to save me, the girl said. Norman's blind, exclaimed Anne. He's my guardian angel, the girl replied, and threw her arms around him. The girl's parents and brother came running up. Lisa, Lisa, are you all right? Her mother cried out. Lisa ran into her arms. Norman saved me from drowning. I can't see, but he saved my life. Speechless, the woman hugged Lisa and stroked the yellow blind dog. News of the heroic rescue traveled fast. Articles about Norman appearing in the newspaper and magazines. Reports were heard on the radio and TV, and an animal shelter named him Animal Hero of the Year and awarded him with a medal. Months later, Lisa went to visit Norman, and Stephen, and dogs met Lisa and her family at the door with lots of hugs and kisses. Thank you for listening to me read, and I hope you enjoyed Norman to the Rescue.
My name is Laura Hodges, and I'm going to be reading The Good Luck Cat. My Aunt Shelley from Oklahoma says some cats are good luck. You pet them and good things happen. There aren't many in the world, maybe in millions, in billions. Woogie is a good luck cat. My Aunt Shelley pet her on the way to bingo and came back with enough money to buy us all new shoes. I pet her when I lost my favorite beaded earrings I had planned to wear at the spring powwow. I found them under my bed. My Aunt Shelley says cats have 9 lives, but Woogie's 9 lives from all her good luck gifts went fast. The first life went when she climbed up in Mom's car to keep warm near the motor. She nearly lost the end of her toe when Mom started the car. Her second life escaped when she followed my brother and me into school. She ran in front of a car. I closed my eyes and screamed, but when the car passed, she was sitting across the street licking her paw. The third life I only heard about when I got back from the grocery store. Mom told the story for weeks. She had turned the dryer on and gone upstairs. It's a good thing that she forgot her coffee, because when she came back down, who did she see spinning and yowling in the dryer window? The fourth life I don't like talking about. My cousin Carissa's dog chased Woogie and almost ate her. She looked like a soggy wash rag. She had to get stitches and limp for a month. The fifth life was Woogie's own fault. She got in a fight with my cousins Megan's and Ben's cat over a bird. Thank you for listening to me read.
My name's McKenna Huff, and I'm going to be reading She Gave a Mouse a Cookie. She gave a mouse a cookie. He's going to ask for a glass of milk. When you give him the milk, he'll probably ask you for a straw. When he's finished, he'll ask for a napkin. Then he'll want to look in a mirror to make sure he doesn't have a milk mustache. When he looks into the mirror, he might notice he might notice his hair needs a trim. So he'll probably ask for a pair of nail scissors. When he's finished giving himself a trim, he'll want a broom to sweep up. He'll start sweeping. He might get carried away and sweep every room in the house. He may even end up washing the floors as well. When he's done, he'll probably want to take a nap. You'll have to fix up a little box for him with a blanket and pillow. He'll crawl and make himself comfortable and fluff the pillow a few times. He'll probably ask you to read him a story. So you'll read to him for one of your books, books, and you'll ask to see the pictures. When he looks at the pictures, he'll get excited he'll want to draw one of his own. He asks for paper and crayons. Thank you for listening to read.
Hi, my name is Olivia Alcantara, and I'm going to be reading Dogzilla. It was summertime in the city of Mouseopolis, and mice from all corners of the community had come to compete in the first annual barbecue cook-off. As the cook-off got underway, smoke from the hot grills lifted the unresistible scent of barbecue sauce over the rooftops of the city. A gentle wind carried the mouth-watering smell into the distance, right over the top of an ancient crater. Before long, a strange and mysterious sound was heard. Sniff, 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 sniff. All at once, the volcano began to tremble. Suddenly, from the very depths of the earth, came the most terrifying creature ever known to mousekind, the dreadful Dogzilla. Immediately, the soldiers were sent out to stop this mighty beast. The heroic troops were led by their brave commanding officer, the Big Cheese. "All right, you old flea bag," squeaked the Big Cheese. "Get those paws in the air. You're coming with us!" Without warning, the monster smut breathed a horrible breath onto the mice. "Doggy breath!" screamed the soldiers. "Run for your lives!" "Hey!" shouted the Big Cheese to his troops. "What are you, men or mice?" "We're mice!" they squeaked. Said the Big Cheese. "You're right. Wait for me!" The colossal canine followed the soldiers back into Mouseopolis, picking up all the food in her path. Afterwards, Dogzilla wandered through the city streets, doing those things that came naturally to dogs. Dogzilla chased cars right off the freeway. Dogzilla chewed furniture, and the furniture store as well. Dogzilla dug up bones at the Museum of National History. Meanwhile, the Big Cheese had organized an emergency meeting with one of the city's greatest scientific minds, Professor Scarlett O'Hara. Thank you for listening to me read.
Hi, my name is Summer and I'm going to be reading Goosebumps. I got off to a bad start at Camp Cold Lake. I was nervous when I arrived and I guess I did some dumb things. Well, I didn't want to go to a water sports camp. I didn't like to be outdoors. I hate the feeling of grass brushing against my ankles. I don't even like to touch trees, and I certainly don't like getting wet. Sure, I like to go swimming once in a while, but I like to swim in a nice clean pool. I took one look at the lake here and I was sick. I knew there had to be horrible things swimming around in the water. Ugly creatures waiting below the surface, thinking to themselves, Sarah Mass, we're waiting for you. Sarah, we're going to rub our slimy bodies on your legs when you swim, and we're going to chew off your toes one by one. Yuck, why do I have to swim in slime? Of course, Aaron was so excited he nearly exploded. When we climbed off the camp bus, he was jumping up and down and talking a mile a minute. Thank you for listening to me read.
Hi, my name is Brandy Palmer. And I will be reading Let's Take Over Kindergarten. Mrs. Shrek got stuck in the jungle gym. That was bad luck. She wouldn't do that again. Brilliant. Because we jiggled, the poor Mrs. Truck wiggled, and little Lucy cried. Let's take over the kindergarten. Lathy, Gavin looked at the door. Gowns up. Stop. Locked the door. Gowns up and aren't old anymore. Do what you like, cried Sally Spike, speeding around the little blue tricycle. Children, said Mrs. Truck. Stop this, please. I'm really stuck. Water everywhere, in our shoes and in our hair. Sticky glue, glubby glue. Let us pour it all over you. Paint the paper, paint the floor, paint the windows, paint the door. Paint your hands, paint your face, paint and paint all over the place. Hi, ready? Thank you for listening to me read. Hi, my name is Jordan Hill, and I'm going to be reading a story called Make Way for Ducklings. Mr. and Mrs. Mallard were looking for a place to live, but every time Mr. Mallard saw what looked like a nice place, Mrs. Mallard said it was no good. There were sure to be foxes in the woods or turtles in the water, and she was not going to raise a family where there might be foxes or turtles. So they flew on and on. When they got to Boston, they felt too tired to fly any further. There was a nice pond in the public garden with a little island on it. The very place to spend the night, quacked Mr. Mallard, so down they flew. Next morning, they fished for their breakfast in the mud at the bottom of the pond, but they didn't find much. Just as they were getting ready to start on their way, a strange, enormous bird came by. It was pushing a boat full of people, and there was a man sitting on its back. Good morning, quacked Mr. Mallard, being polite. The big bird was too proud to answer, but the people on the boat threw peanuts into the water, so the Mallards followed them all around the pond and got another breakfast, better than the first. I like this place, said Mrs. Mallard, as they climbed out on the bank
and rattled along. Why don't we build a nest and raise our ducklings right in this pond? There are no foxes and no turtles, and the people feed us peanuts. What could be better? Good, said Mr. Mallard, delighted that at last Mrs. Mallard had found a place that suited her. But look out, squawked Mrs. Mallard. All of a dither, you'll get run over. And when she got her breath, she added, this is no place for babies with all those horrid things rushing about. We'll have to look somewhere else. So they flew over Beacon Hill and around the State House, but there was no place there. Thank you for listening to me read.
My name is Jeremiah Taylor, and I am reading Skateboarding Greats Champs of Events. Hawk celebrated after he completed the 900. Hawk made 10 jumps to complete the 900 each time he fell. Hawk built his speed by skating twice up and down the ramp. He then took off from the ramp. He spun 1/2 times an hour before landing his sport. The crowd cheered as other skates lifted him up in the air. At first, the skateboarding competition took place in 1963. In California, this contest was a amateur competition. The skaters did not like the prize of the money for Tony Hawk for competing. Most professional skaters begin their careers as amateurs. They learned those skills before turning professional skaters have proceeded. These competitions made the skaters' equipment more expressive. Skate Tony Alvin grew up in Santa Monica. Many of the early first skateboarders were surfers. Surfers thought that skateboarders was like surfing on land. They liked the speed of feeling of freedom that the skateboarder gave them. In 1997, many of the world's top skateboarders lived in or near Santa Monica, California. This city has many empty swimming pools and the creator surface. Thank you for listening to me read.
Hi, my name is Jesse Flaz, and I'm going to be reading Jackie Robinson. Jackie Robinson was the first black man to play Major League Baseball. He opened the door to many other black players. Jackie was born in Georgia in 1919. His parents were very poor. They already had 4 children to feed. Jackie was just a baby when his mother took his children to California. There wasn't much money to go around, but there was a lot of love. As Jackie grew up, he discovered there was a lot of conflict between blacks and whites. There was even a law that said blacks could not swim in the town pool with white children. Jackie was angry at being treated unfairly, but he knew that fighting with his fist would not make things worse. Instead, Jackie fought back by being the best athlete he could. In high school, Jackie was a star athlete. No one played as hard as he did. When Jackie went to college, he was one of the best athletes in the country. Baseball, basketball, football, track, Jackie started in them all. In 1941, America entered World War II. Jackie joined the army, but he hurt his ankle and could not fight. Instead, he trained troops. After the war ended, Jackie joined the Kansas City Martians. They were a Negro American Baseball League team. The Marching played great baseball, but the Negro League players were not paid well. Thank you for listening to me read.
Nice job.
Hi, I'm Jacob. I'm reading Double Dare. It was one of those days in Bear Country when everything was going so well, you just knew that any minute something was bound to go wrong. Papa Bear was off chopping wood in the forest. Mama Bear was putting in some tomato plants. Brother Bear was working on a tangled fishing line. And Sister Bear was running up the front path as upset as she could. "Mama, Mama," she shouted. What is it, sweetie?" asked Mama. They took. Sister was so angry she could hardly speak. "Calm down, dear," said Mama, "and tell us what happened." "Some big cubs at the playground took my jump rope and won't give it back," Sister said. Mama wanted to hear more, but Brother had heard quite enough. He just knew it was those troublemakers, Too Tall, Grizzly, his gang bothering smaller cubs again. So off she stalked, heading straight for the ground. Not only were Too Tall and his gang still were, but Too Tall was jumping with Sister's rope. On sea, Tosi, I love Yossi, he sang in mocking tone. Thank you for watching me read. My name is Simon Keisner Solis, and I am gonna read Martin Luther King Jr. to you. Martin Luther King Jr. was a great American. He led black people in their struggle to win the same rights that white people have. Martin Luther King Jr. was born in Atlanta, Georgia on January 15th, 1929. His family called him ML. The King family spent a lot of time in church. Reverend King was the pastor of Ebenezer Baptist Church. ML loved to sit and listen to his father preach. ML loved sports too. He and his friends played football, baseball, and basketball. ML was one of the best players. One day when ML was 6 years old, his friend's mother told him he could not play with her sons anymore. "We're white and you're colored," she said. ML went home crying. He didn't understand why the color of his skin should make a difference to anyone. ML's mother gave him a hug and then she told him a story. ML's mother told him that at one time many black people in America were slaves. They had to work hard for white families and do whatever they were told. Now there were no more slaves, but some white people still treated blacks unfairly. Thank you for reading. Thank you for listening to me read.
I am Kaya Luke, and I am going to be reading How Santa Lost His Job. Every year before his big ride, Santa checked the list checked the weather, reviewed some maps, trimmed his beard, polished his boots, fed the reindeer, and packed the sleigh. He moved as fast as he could, but even so, there was always a last-minute rush. Some of the elves grumbled about this. Why can't Santa plan better? How come he's so slow? One year, an elf named Muckle said even more. Santa is too set in his ways. He declared he wastes his time and angry. Maybe so, his friends agreed. But what could they do? After all, Santa was only human. That gave Muckle an idea. For months, he worked on a secret project, and almost every day the mail carrier Carla dropped off packages at his door. Mail, what are you up to? She asked. But Muckle wouldn't say. He kept his workshop locked and didn't let anyone in. It was late fall when Muckle finally showed off his. Thank you for listening to me read How Santa Lost His Job.
Hi, my name's Samantha, and I'm going to read you the candy corn contest. Mrs. Rond gave out the drawing paper. All eyes on me, she said. Richard Best put his hand onto his desk. This is the way to make a Thanksgiving turkey, said Mrs. Rond. She picked up a fat piece of brown chalk. Richard finished round for his lunch bag. He watched Mrs. Rond trace her hand on the chalkboard. He had made a turkey just like that last year, and the year before that. Now he was making another one, a left back turkey, just like him. He started to open his lunch bag. It made a crackling noise. Matthew Jackson turned around. He pulled on his stick out ears. "Hello, Best," he whispered. Richard made a best face. He smiled at Matthew. Matthew was a great kid, Richard thought, but he wet the bed, and the problem hadn't taken a bath since last summer. Thank you for listening to me read.
What do you love?
Reading!
Where do you go to school?
Hennessy!
And what grade are you in?
Third!
Hip hip hooray!
Hip
Hip hip hooray!
hooray!
Hip hip hooray!